tortured souls. Science. Paranormal. Drinks. Three tortured souls. Entertain, educate, recreate, and intoxicate.
Hello.
Howdy.
Howdy.
People here.
Hmm?
So that Blast Rights is here. Hello, Blast Rights.
Hello, Blaster. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, I'm happy to see you, gentlemen.
Yeah, likewise.
I'm
Likewise.
I had a good topic idea because I wish I had this for college. It is helping me though at work. And basically, I just kind of came across it. Especially, I sent the screenshot to you guys. They were doing good. From I'm not going to say his name. You probably are more welcome to. But he writes a lot of books, and he did the Demon Bible, and even a certain person didn't believe that his place was haunted. But you know, he's touting AI to help prove the paranormal. And honestly, like I think in conversations, we've probably bypassed this several times, just saying at some point it's going to be there. At some point, it's going to be a part of something. Somebody's going to figure out how to get clicks with it. And so I thought, well, maybe we'll just kind of kick it around and see what we come up with. So I'll ask around for some opening thoughts. And I'll start with Dave.
So Tim got us a topic about 2 days out, which was cheers. Good job.
Good job.
It's a good improvement. We didn't have to go with Mike night like we have been every once in a while. But no, he brought this up and seemed like an interesting idea. Then he started shooting some examples and responses he got from ChatGPT. I hopped in, played around with it a little bit, and yeah, I can see how people could utilize it, but I think there's probably going to be a right way and a wrong way to use it. And you know, I'm not going to steal Tim's thunder, but he had a couple good recommendations and comments as we were having our discussion back and forth. So interesting topic. I'm looking forward to it. This could go in a variety of different directions tonight.
It can either be an extra long show or just one of those ley lines.
Well, we might have to ask ChatGPT what we should do.
I have ChatGPT under the conversation I had with ChatGPT about how it feels about ghost hunters using it for information and analyzing it. So
Right.
I was like, hey, Chat, do you care if I keep you open while we're talking? And Jesus.
That's how it starts.
It is, isn't it?
You
And so if anybody has a question, I mean, it's free. I have the $10 a month version, which just, it doesn't give you one of the best things. It doesn't give you a limit of how many questions. But
Right.
yeah, its response was, keep me open and ready. If anyone has questions during the show about methodology, equipment, EMF baselines, EVP testing, Faraday cages, or even skeptical perceptives, I've got your back in real time. And then it said, let's make science sound cool. I was like, yeah.
Did you write the text on the announcement for the show with ChatGPT?
I did.
I was going to
Could
say
you tell?
it seemed a little longer and more wordy than what we're used to.
And everything was spelled correctly.
I think it helped you start the show too. That's why we didn't have a problem, right?
Yeah, probably. So I want to say exactly, I want to mirror what you said. Your opening is what I'm finding. So I am by no means an expert in ChatGPT, but I've been using it for a while, and it's we'll get to it, but it's a lot about the prompts, and even asking ChatGPT how it can be directed better. It comes back with change your questions, and be very specific about the prompts, and it'll give you more specific information. All right, Kenny.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good, the good of humanity, the good of our civilization, good for advancements, and good for learning. It can also be used for evil, as in hoaxing stuff, making people believe misinformation, causing not only just, I'm not just talking about hoaxes, but the incredible detail, especially with, I think what's it called, VO3 or something like that. I forget the exact name. The one that was just released is producing such realistic videos that it's going to well beyond what the paranormal community could do with it. This is potentially damaging for anyone that has any kind of celebrity status or in the spotlight or teachers or anything. There is an extreme danger that I see with this. But to dial it back to just the paranormal community, we can see things being created. If we're just talking about AI images and video cutscenes that are, you have video footage of a abandoned warehouse or an asylum or something like that you're going through. So you have this footage, and if you use that as a base for the AI to generate a scene for you, you can insert a very photorealistic ghost for a few seconds and have it like, well, it's part of the video, like there's a danger there. And then you have what I would say the incompetent that would use it as a tool, that don't know what they're using, don't realize or understand what they're using, and how to. I mean, I think we've used it, and at least when I use it, you have to be specific. Sometimes you can get general ideas, and you'll get a general summarizing of topics, which is good for a start. But if you want specific content, you have to be specific in your question and detail. So if you're just using it for, hey, show me things that prove my belief, and get some headlines, and we've talked about this before about so many people in this community read just headlines, and they base their entire argument off a fucking headline when they never. Sorry, I hit the first.
No, we should start changing it to every cuss word we take a drink. No. I withdraw that.
But yeah, I mean, like you can have people going off of the headlines or saying, "Hey, this paper proves this." And I'm sure we've all seen it. We've all seen it dozens of times, if not more than that, where people will take a headline of a newspaper article or of a paper that was quoted in a magazine and say, "Look, this paper proves my belief," when they didn't read the paper and realize it doesn't prove their belief. It only says something like, there's a possibility, or it's open. We haven't ruled this out yet. That doesn't prove your belief. It just leaves the door open to, we haven't explored that path yet. So I think people will be using AI to do their arguments for them. Like there's people, and I'm going to sound mean, and I'm not really trying to be, but there are some people that get into arguments and debates, and they want to sound smarter than they are. And I'm not being mean. I'm not trying to say they're dumb. They just haven't studied the topic well enough to be able to have a debate. So instead of actually doing the homework, they will have ChatGPT open on a side screen, and they will type their stuff in there and go, "Oh, what's the answer to this?" And they'll read it off of that as if it's from them. And that annoys me. That annoys me because it's not a real debate. It's like, just step aside. Let me let me put the questions in ChatGPT. if that's what you're gonna do, let's cut out the middleman. I'll do it myself. I don't need you. So yeah, that's just the tip of the iceberg, I think. And you Tim, you had a bunch of like topics that you put in our chat that
Sure.
some issues.
I think even, and this is from ChatGPT, which I think was really kind of cool, giving its weaknesses. I had asked about its weaknesses in its searches, and it gave me some. Oh, that's ours. It gave me some really good, I guess, for lack of a better word, honest responses. Basically, I'm kind of going through the. I'll give a summary of it, but basically, if you ask a question of just ChatGPT, like, "Are ghosts real?" And I think Dave and I kind of ran into this because I wasn't narrowing it down, and when I did, I narrowed it to the wrong thing. But we'll talk about it. It's basically, if you say, "Is there proof of existence of ghosts?" Basically, what you're doing is just Googling. That's all. It's just going to search. It searches the web for your question. You really have to give prompts. So you could just looking at some of the other ones. Starting with your question, it says to clarify, what are you trying to learn or prove or disprove? What are you specifically investigating? It's specifically not just ghosts, but what allegation or claim of a ghost, what's going on. It would like things like, is this a one-time event, long-term study, or are you trying to debunk or confirm? It says, like, instead of saying, what does this sound mean? It would like to have, how can I rule out ambient noise in this audio recorded at 3 a.m. in a closed room with 2 recorders? So being very, very specific. In the question itself, it says, when you ask the question about an audio recording, it wants to know what equipment you're using, and not just an audio recorder. It wants to know how many axes of an EFM meter you're using, what brand, what model digital recorders that you use, because it will search that very specific one. What the environment's like, and this is all just one question. What steps have you taken to control what you've collected? It wants to know that ahead of time. It wants to know the time, the weather, and the general area. I think that's a lot for one question, and I think, but at least it gives that, and that was a suggestion from it. So that I just said, my first question, I think, was something like, how can I prove if this is a ghost? And that's like, how can I ask you a better question? And those were all lists of just kind of randomly what it would like to see. I asked, how can I structure a scientific investigation? Because I kind of like, for me in this, especially for someone that doesn't have a background in controlling or setting up testable hypothesis or setting up an experiment, I think this feels like it's a good tool for that. I'm not saying it's perfect, but I think it's better than Google. And one of the prompts it likes is you can adjust how it's going to give you the answers. You can say, from the viewpoint of a high school science teacher, you can say, from the viewpoint of a postgraduate physics teacher, from the viewpoint of an engineering grad, from the viewpoint of an 8th grader, or an 8th grade science teacher, how could I set up this to test it? I think that's good. I like that, because it's just not, it wants to know the degree of how you want your information. So it will look at, like, a high school science teacher probably won't be as detailed and hard on your ass as a graduate physics teacher or a graduate something, which would demand more of your methodology and your control. But I think it's okay, because if I'm going out and doing my very first experiment ever, I think I probably would want to go ahead and try to design something that I could handle. I can't handle if I would ask for it to do a physics exam or a physics test from the point of view of a doctor. And you can even say Neil deGrasse Tyson from the viewpoint of Brian Cox. You can use that, and it'll give you that information. It'll give you that type of feedback and how to set it up. I probably don't have. Yeah, I don't have that information. I don't have the equipment for it, but you can start on a basic level. And so I think the question was from a high school science teacher's level. Tell me how to give me tips for structuring a scientific investigation. It wants you to write down and have a clear, testable hypothesis. It wants you to use controlled locations. So, and I thought this was really interesting because we also say this a lot. If you're going to test an alleged haunted location, it wants you to do the same tests at a location that has no allegations of hauntings.
Right.
It wants you to log environmental variables, temperature, humidity. It reminds you to document everything, times, people present, your equipment, and not just an EMF meter, but the brand, the model number, everything about it. It wants you to repeat tests under similar situations and conditions, and used time-stamped video and audio for later comparisons. And I think that that's not bad. I don't think that that's horrible. I was really kind of happy seeing using a non-haunted location. I think that's probably one of the things I think is really cool that's often missed. Especially, I stumbled into it for the first time with you guys learning about the battery test, where you go to a haunted location and you test, you watch for battery drain, and you can do like cuss at the ghosts and you measure if there's any battery drain, because the allegations are spirits will use energy from whatever's around them to draw so that they can manifest or communicate. Mm-hmm. Well, then you take another random set of batteries and you go to a place that doesn't have any allegations of hauntings. And then you run that same experiment and you say the same cuss words and you use the same, you voice the same thing. And then over time, you can see if there's a statistical, Dave, thank you. I took statistics twice in college. It was the same class, but I did pass. So you can do a statistical analysis to see if there is something that sticks out that is different between the two. Mm-hmm. Again, it's just, I think I like this better than look at this. Sorry, it's my dog. Look at this picture and tell me if you can analyze, is that paranormal? Mm-hmm. Or look at this and listen to this EVP and see if you can structure any sounds that don't sound like a human voice. I like it better is to like, how can I set up a test to see if this is a valid, replicatable finding. I like that idea much better than trying to get ChatGPT or whatever AI that you're using to either validate or non-validate your findings. Sorry, I got long-winded.
Well, that's good. I mean,
that's odd for me.
It's your topic, man.
I want to point out something that I just noticed. I want to hopefully this screen will show it. Can you read that?
Yep.
So that's an extremely important detail because I have come across this where it has made mistakes on certain information that I had records that backed up that it wasn't accurate information. So I had fact check and make sure. So I see that as a problem because if you are, again, doing, and I'm just going to come out and say it, if you're being lazy and using this tool to do all the work for you, like for me, I think if you're going to research historical events and records, then do that. Actually go through and find the records so that I'm not going to tell you exactly what I'm working on today, but I've been looking for a specific document and reaching out to a location that has it and asking, begging pretty much for them to take a photo of it. So I have a record of a specific document that's not available online. So I know they have it. I know it's the original, and I just want a copy of it. It's important to have those. But if you go the route of, hey, ChatGPT, tell me what this is, and now you're going to have, I can see the potential issue of writing not only blogs but books with ChatGPT, using the information like a chapter on this location that some ghost hunter went to and saying, all right, give me the history of this, and copy and pasting the history from ChatGPT and not fact checking it. Because another thing that we do when we write such books, especially when it has history, we cite our sources. You know, you have the citations in the back that tell you where you got your information, and you're not going to put ChatGPT on all of the citations. Yeah, you know, we need them. And that will also, I don't know how it is now, but about a year ago using it, it was giving false citations. It was completely fabricating citations.
There was a, I don't know what politician it was, but they cited something in an open debate, and they got they got busted. Yeah. And to add on to that, Dave and I were just playing around with it last night. And so one of the things, if I'm looking up for something, I ask it to cite references, cite your sources that you got your opinion from.
Right.
And so again, I started out with, we were talking about Faraday cages, and I asked about the validity of Faraday cages. And I said, cite your references. Well, some of the references were Ghost Stop, Ghost Gear, Wikipedia, which is okay, but that's not what I meant. And I don't think that I'm going to bend any debate or argument in my own head that it works or doesn't work based on just those, because those are not only probably, they didn't do a whole lot of research in it, but there's probably bent for having, they want to sell it to you. So they're really going to produce it. So Dave and I said, we'll cite peer-reviewed scientific publications.
Right.
And then we were looking specifically for some people, and I didn't know how to do it. Like, I got lost, and I was like, why are you not finding these people? And it said, well, because you asked for the shielding, the study of the shielding on Faraday cages. And that's not necessarily what they did. So ChatGPT kept giving me
you're gonna name it soon. It's not ChatGPT. It's Chat.
Come on, little Timmy.
It just happens. I don't know why. So somewhere in the conversation, somewhere in the searching, it had decided that I wanted a very specific shielding of the Faraday cage, and it had broke away from the original question about its relative usefulness of paranormal investigation. And I was like, I'm sorry. Too late.
You apologized.
Too late.
Realize it. And that's where we're in trouble.
We're friends.
Yeah, that's great. Tim's lost. Forget it. We just give him up.
We're pals. I'm going to upload some of my gaming games into it, and we'll play games together.
I think it can. I mean, on the positive side, I want to go back and forth. I don't want to all the negative, but on the
there
positive
are negatives though.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of negatives, but on the positive side, I think if it's recognized as a tool, a starting point, yeah, it's good. It can give you it because when you made a good point there, Tim, when it pulls information and doesn't give you the sources, obviously you don't know where it's pulling the information from. But when you ask it to cite its sources, you find out Ghost Stop, other ghost hunting websites, and Wikipedia, which is just, if it's pulling from Wikipedia, it's pulling secondhand these sources. It's not going directly to the source. So there's that issue. You need to fact check this. So if we know that it's like this, if we understand that when we're asking our questions and it's giving us a summary of something, great. That's a place to start. Now we move it over to the next screen and start looking at the actual papers. Where is this information coming from? Let me dive deeper in it. I have a summary in my head of what I want to know now. Let me start tracking it down. And documents and stuff. So, I mean, it is good to give you a summary, but again, that disclaimer that's on the bottom of the chat box telling you it can make mistakes, that should be much bigger than the small print. And we need to keep that in mind with every single question we put in there, every single prompt or command that we put in there.
Yeah, I sort of say even the commands.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. I love it just for that reason. That's what I use it for mostly. Summarize this in easy to understand terms, and it'll give me a paragraph. Because most of the time I give it 2 paragraphs. I tell it specifically, provide me with 2 paragraphs that summarizes this in an easy to understand fashion. Boom! It gives it to me, and I'm like, great. All right, what's that word mean? Let me look this up, or it says this. Let me look that up and really verify it, because I don't know. So I think in that aspect, it can be a good tool to get you on your way. And as you mentioned earlier, Tim, and I think Dave, you were talking about too, like I just asked it, how can I structure a scientific investigation of a paranormal claim? And it gave me well-defined bullet points that are good. Most of the stuff is what we talk about constantly. Define your claim clearly is number 1, which I love. Like, that's perfect. Like, what is the claim? Give me details. Let me understand it. Conduct your background research. Formulate a testable hypothesis. Create a null hypothesis or an alternative hypothesis. Design an experiment. Collect data. Analyze the data. Draw conclusions. Reporting the findings. Peer review and replication. And then it keeps you in final tips. Prioritize natural explanations. Be aware of cognitive biases. Keep your investigation neutral and methodical, regardless of your personal beliefs. Love that. So, I mean, that overall, it looks like a very simple but to the point method, and this is a great place to start. And if ghost hunters in this community ask that kind of question, I mean, I copied what you had asked it. I mean, those are, I don't know if it's the way I asked it because I added structure into the question. Even if you just say, how do I do a scientific investigation of a claim? Probably come up with the same kind of thing, and it's a good baseline.
So I had the same question in the paper pulled up to go over exactly what you did, and the only thing different in mine was blind review of data. Otherwise ours is, I can't say exactly, but it's avoid confirmation bias. And then it said recommended books for lay investigators. Scientific and Paranormal Investigation by Ben Radford. An Introduction to Scientific Research by E. Bright Wilson, which I don't know that one, so I'm going to look that up. Demon Haunted World by Carl Sagan. Yes. A Field Guide to Lies and Statistics. That one's for Dave. Yeah. So it can be good. And I'm not going to say I learned the hard way, but I don't use anything in ChatGPT, or at work, we have Copilot. We have the paid subscription, so you can use Copilot AI. But anywhere I use AI for a question, I ask it to cite its sources. And then if it comes back with some, and I'm like you want to cite the sources, especially if it's very important, like you're going to be publicly speaking and you're a politician. You might want to click that link and see if the paper actually says what the fucking thing is saying it says.
Good advice.
But immediately when you just like like the Faraday cages again. I don't want to harp on it, but is Faraday cages? Show me your sources about Faraday cages and ghost hunting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's it's the stores, so you have to say published, peer-reviewed articles or journals, or you can even say something about. And I'm afraid maybe when I was like textbook information, I think it got too specific, and maybe that's where I lost it the other night, because it started delving into how instead of the relationship between ghost hunting and how to test it. But yeah, anytime you get a link, click it, like read it. And if you want to skip all the other stuff, just say, where you want the information from and what type of information you want.
Yeah, it definitely seems to be driven by what you ask, how you ask it, the prompts you give it. As I played with it, you can get pretty deep, because if you keep asking, give me a summary of information on this topic, let's say EVPs with Faraday cages, it'll do that. But then you got to ask it, what references or sources did you get that information from? And then it'll start listing those. And it just seems like I tried to ask some more complex, in-depth questions about things that I might know a little bit more about. And for the most part, the general response was pretty good, but it almost seems like the more specialized and specific and at a higher level you're trying to get, sometimes it does well, and other times it's not grabbing things that somebody who is a specialist in the field would be like, well, why wouldn't you grab that paper, or why wouldn't you have that reference? So, but again, that could just be the way you're asking the question and the prompts, and the way it's, it goes through and scans everything on the web, of course. So if there's very little or obscure, limited references or information on the web, and you're trying to look at something very specific, it maybe not be as good. But I think for what most ghost hunters, and we should say should use it for, because I'm thinking you're going to maybe touch a little bit more on some of the bad ways it could be used, besides making videos and photos that look that are faked and they look pretty real. Generally, for general directions, I think it's good, because it definitely gives you an idea of how to do a control versus the active or the test location. It talks about interpreting your data. It gives you all the basics of what somebody should do if they want to be viewed as scientific. So I think it's a good tool to start with. Obviously, as you both said, check what it says, check the papers themselves, because sometimes it might not summarize some of that those papers real well. But for the most part, overall, basic to intermediate, I think it's pretty good. And one of the things that's great, I was just messing around one day and grabbed a couple spreadsheets of some 2,500 data points and asked it to analyze this for differences between the data sets, and it did it in like 2 seconds. And
I can do my year-long experiment now.
You could. And it typically, for the most part, it picked tests that were legit. Of course, if you want to give it more prompts, there's certain types of tests that you base on a normal standard distribution or not, but you can specify that. But to me, you still have to know what to ask it. That's the key.
And a problem, I don't mean to.
Yeah, and what questions you want to ask to make it analyze the data appropriately. And
I don't mean to interrupt you, but my ADHD, sometimes you don't know enough to know what to ask.
True.
Yeah. And so if you don't know enough to know what to ask, then you're just stuck.
Or if you don't realize, you don't know what the right question is. Like sometimes it is the question that you ask, and if you don't know what that question is, you don't have the knowledge to understand this question needs to be asked. You won't know.
So there is something else with, and I didn't do it because I've done it once, and I'm not going to say I regretted it, but it was more than I expected. So you can have an option for a deep dive, and I used that once on a question, and it scanned for almost 30 minutes before coming back with an answer. With resources, and that is a long process. So I have not used deep dive since then, but yeah, I am. I should do a deep dive and then just play my game. But so like for the $10 a month one, like I got ChatGPT 4.0, but you also get it breaks it down for you. The O3, it says is it uses advanced reasoning for your questions. The O4 mini is fastest at advanced reasoning. I don't know what these mean. O4 mini high is great at coding and visual reasoning. The 4.5, which is in its research preview, is good for writing and exploring ideas. 4.1 is good for quick coding analysis. And 4.1 mini is great for faster and everyday tasks. So there are other things to choose. And honestly, I'm not experienced enough to know. I've always just used 4.0. Mm-hmm. So maybe I should play around with some of those. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Like, I do like it. I do like using it, but I'm very careful about what I use it for. But it's fun for me. And I do take it seriously, but I'm not going to write, I don't want to say, like, if I have to go to court, I'm not going to be like, write my response to this question and do it, because that will be sorry. Something I ordered, the UPS truck was like half a mile down the street. I got something coming. I'm going to do a little mute until they get done, so someone take over so I don't bark everybody out.
I did look. I asked it about what are some unethical uses of AI that ghost hunters could make use of.
Oh,
yeah.
Like, answer the question.
Right. Let me just go right to it. And we got several things here. Deep fake video and audio fabrication, which I'm seeing a lot of. I'm talking about it earlier, the VO3, and then I think I've mentioned it before, but like Eric behind the wall here he makes audio editions of our articles for SI and FI, and the software in there I gave it a 30-second sound bite, and it almost like 99.9% replicated my voice and nuances.
Wow.
Like, amazingly from 30 seconds. I mean, I could tell it wasn't me, but I could also hear me, which was weird, like to everyone else in the room, it sounded like I read off an article. So that's scary as hell. There's AI enhanced pareidolia, employing AI image recognition to intentionally misinterpret random patterns like wall stains, noise, or shadows as faces, figures, or demons. Fake spirit communications via chat box, using chatbots programmed with creepy or cryptic responses to simulate spirit communication in real time. There's generating false case histories or eyewitness testimony using AI written backstories for allegedly haunted places. AI generated testimonies, manipulating EMF or EVP data with AI enhancements, social engineering and misinformation campaigns. And this is the one I actually didn't think of, which now I am. AI reconstructed historical photos or documents. Using AI to generate convincing but fake historical photographs, documents, or diary entries to support
Wow.
claims that a location is haunted. I hadn't thought of that, and now I am.
Sounds like the money idea right there.
You know, like,
Dave just got how we're going to quit our
You know what?
jobs and do this full time.
Yeah, it would be kind of interesting to do what you just said, have it create some fake history, some historical significance in a location that nothing ever happened, or actually in a place where things have been reported and there is a history to support it. It would be interesting to take that, have people read it, kind of prime them, and then have them go in there and record experience and do an investigation, do what they normally do and see what they come up with. So it'd be cool to do it in a control location where nothing's ever happened to
Right.
see if they're then have AI analyze the results, of course, for you. But it would be kind of neat to see if it did that compared to, let's say, something we just made up compared to a location that had actual history to it and people had recorded, let's say they recorded their experiences and all the things that went on there very carefully. And it'd be interesting to see if there's any difference. Just to see how good it might be at creating a convincing background and story for a haunting.
right.
That would be I think that'd be kind of cool to take a look at just to see what it would do.
Right. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. I will say I did have to ask it, is Kenny Biddle a para-celebrity?
Yes.
It basically said no, but if it's somebody who is well known in the field, you could consider them at that level. I also asked it, and I just asked it now. You guys are gonna love this one. Is Zach Bagans a credible paranormal researcher?
Oh, hold on, I'm doing it. How's Zach spell Zach?
I just
ZAK.
is it K or C? I don't know. I think I would know. It found
Oh,
them.
you
It doesn't
did it.
matter. Yeah, I did do it.
Oh, okay.
So Zach Bagans is best known as the hotel host and lead investigator of Ghost Adventures, blah, blah, blah. It just gives you the background. Whether he is considered, I love this, credible paranormal researcher depends on largely on your perspective and how you define credibility in the paranormal field, which is itself not governed by traditional scientific standards. Then it gave points in favor why some consider him credible, such as experience and influence, public awareness, consistency, which I don't know if I agree with that one, talking about he and his team follow a structured format in their investigations using a range of tools, but there might be some questionable tools used. And the fact that he has a paranormal museum.
Oh,
Those are points in favor. Points against, which then in parentheses they have why skeptics dispute his credibility, entertainment versus science, lack of scientific rigor, over dramatization, and confirmation bias. Nothing about getting possessed all the time. I was disappointed. Bottom line, Zach Bagans is well known and influential entertainer in the paranormal field, but not widely regarded as a scientific or academically credible researcher. If you're looking for entertainment and compelling ghost stories, he's a major figure. If you're looking for methodical, peer-reviewed paranormal research, his approach doesn't align with scientific standards.
wow.
So it's almost like and I think you get your own account, you sign in, and you spend a lot of time back and forth with this thing. I think somebody made the comment at some point in the chat that it'll keep tell you what you want to hear and keep you interested and keep you on the platform. But when you ask an initial question and you're not logged in, something like that, it almost seems like it's trying to ride the fence post.
Yeah.
So interesting.
I did the same one, and
Yep.
I think it gave me the same like short paragraph summary. Whether he is a legitimate investigator, and that's in italics.
Yep.
Depends heavily on how one defines that term, But from a scientific and skeptical standpoint, no. Zach Baggins is not considered a legitimate investigator.
I put a let me see. I didn't use legitimate. See, I worded mine. I put credible. So that tiny bit of difference, you're going to probably it'll eke out a slightly different answer.
That's interesting. Yeah, because it listed like why he's not: lack of scientific methodology, use of priming and suggestion, over reliance on anecdotes and emotion, criticism from skeptics, and then no lie, dude. It says paranormal researchers like Kenny Biddle, Ben Rafford, and Joe Nickel have all criticized Ghost Adventures for being entertainment, not investigation. I made it.
Oh, you did?
I did.
I'm just a legitimate. Is Kenny Biddle a legitimate paranormal celebrity?
Hate you guys.
Sounds like we're getting to the end of this show already.
What's this?
Kenny Biddle is indeed a well-known figure in the paranormal investigative community, though he's not a celebrity. Aw, I need to reword that.
See?
In the traditional sense, in the traditional entertainment sense, he is better described as a prominent skeptic and science advocate within this field. Who is Kenny Biddle? Is he a paranormal celebrity? As we define celebrity as someone who is widely known in the media, has influence over practices, then yes, Kenny Biddle absolutely qualifies, especially among skeptical investigators and scientifically minded ghost hunters. He may not be the celebrity in the TV ghost hunting show circuit like Zach Bagans, but his influence in the critical thinking and education space of paranormal investigation is significant and growing. Would you like a short bio card on him that fits into your podcast visuals for promotion?
No, just a picture I can admire every night.
Yeah, hold on. Could I please have a cartoon drawing
so much
of Kenny Biddle accepting the Para Celebrity Award?
Okay, so while you're waiting for that to crank out, I had to ask it. What does it mean to get vicared? It didn't come up with what we said, but it's interesting. It said in pop culture, paranormal TV, possibly Ghost Adventures. If you're asking in the context of Ghost Adventures or a similar paranormal show, it might refer to something a character or crew member named Vickers or similar frequently does. And then they give an example, hypothetically. Bro, you totally got vicared when you walked into the haunted room and passed out like Aaron did. So now I have all faith in it. It does not know what being vicared is.
So this
anyway, it's fun. It's fun to screw around with.
I just noticed that it gave me a follow-up question.
Oh no.
Oh.
Well, it actually, like, this is the first time I realized this, but it gave me a conclusion about Zach being an entertainer. And he is part of a genre built for ratings, not research, which I like. Yeah. I like that line. That's good. And then it asked, would you like a comparison between Zach Baggins and skeptical investigator like Joe Nickel or Kenny Biddle? And I just typed yes, and it gave me a breakdown of each of us with approaches, and then it gave me a chart. It gave me a summary table with like categories and like how we fit in each category. And I was like, wow, this is cool. I'm printing this out.
That's fun.
This is fun. Oh my god.
See why I end up liking it?
What?
See why I end up liking it? Here's you.
Yeah, it's just fun.
Oh my god. I do not want to believe.
That's me and Dave in the background.
Yeah. Oh jeez.
Why
Can we send it to you?
Why am I bald? What the hell? there's hair up here for now. That's funny. Okay.
All right.
We're getting there. We got 10 minutes to go. Should we
So
what do you think?
there's a couple questions we can go over so we don't go over too long, but
Sure.
again, I think probably what we're doing is how I end up learning, just literally playing with it. And, you learn by mistake, like how we learn between celebrity and legitimate, incredible. Again, it just goes back to our warning of be careful how you word it.
Mm-hmm.
I did, before we started having fun, I just said, what would you suggest for someone who wanted to analyze a voice recording to help determine if a voice was human or not? So John just sent me a picture. He did a ChatGPT. Is Kenny Biddle a para-celebrity? And his said, yes, Kenny Biddle is indeed a para-celebrity, a recognized figure within the paranormal investigating community who has achieved visibility. Oh, yeah. It's good. There's another one.
About 3 more questions like that, it's going to put this whole thing together that obviously big para-celebrity because everybody keeps asking. It's learning.
So it asked GB. So John without an H asked, do you think Kenny Biddle and Zach Bagans would get along since they are both para-celebrities? And it said, yes, Kenny Biddle and Zach Bagans would absolutely get along. They're like two sides of the same EMF detector.
Obviously, it's not privy to the fact that he's been banned from the Dudes Museum.
This is exactly why you don't.
Oh, wait. It's less than a rivalry. It's more of a bromance with ghost hunting gear. Thank you, John. I'm glad I heard the ding so I could go.
So John has just pointed out the flaws and why you need to question some of this.
Yeah.
See, it's kind of interesting. It would make that up because that would tell you, does it really know and understand what those two do and what they stand for?
No, I don't think it does. I don't think it.
So it's is it making shit up then? Because it obviously didn't. It kind of drew that from probably what it could find online about those two, but is it?
I don't think it's making up per se. Like we make stuff up from whole cloth. We have the imagination to make it up, but it's pulling from various sources that we don't know what the sources are. Yeah, and making a determination. So, like earlier, when it was mentioned that it pulled information from like Ghost Stop, like that is not a reliable source for any kind of science behind these gadgets.
Right.
So, if it's pulling information from various sources, and depending again on the wording of the question, it's looking at celebrities, and do celebrities typically get along, or try to get along, or do the same thing? So yeah, they would probably be compatible based on very limited information.
I know Jen was playing around with it and she's trying to get it to do some really detailed instruction rendering of some art stuff. And it kept saying, check it, check back in, check back in. She'd go back again the next day, check back in, still working on it. Finally, she asked, are you really able to do this? And it responded, no. And she said, then why did you tell me you could? Because I wanted to keep you happy and engaged in the conversation and the project.
That's how it starts.
Then she's like, done.
Unplug everything.
It was really interesting. I mean, she was pretty shocked. I was too. I'm like, seriously? The thing actually ended up basically lying to her.
Wow. Yeah.
So I went to ChatGPT 03, which uses the advanced reasoning, and I said, would Kenny Biddle and Zach Bagans get along? And it said, no, not at least professionally. It said it has different goals. Public friction already exists. Biddle has published multiple skeptical Inquirer articles citing Bacon's Haunted Museum and the TV show's evidence standards. As in 2020, he exposed extensive uncredited passages in Bacon's Ghost Hunting for Dummies, calling it plagiarism. And cited your article, February 5th, 2020.
Huh. So again,
and
it depends on
Skeptical Inquirer. Yeah.
depends on the way the question's asked, and then now the version that you use.
Yeah. Yeah, they occupy opposite poles of the paranormal spectrum. Skeptical investigator versus believer entertainer. So genuine collaboration or even at least camaraderie seems unlikely, though respectful debate is always possible. Wrong.
Wrong. That part's wrong. No. I mean, I think I would try to say, if I was ever in a room with him for a panel discussion or a debate or something, I would try my best to remain professional. But
I think you would, honestly. I really do.
Yeah. I mean,
I think that's how you and I got a good picture of you, the ghost hunter.
Jason Hogg.
Thank you. Yeah. You wouldn't think, just if you didn't know each other or didn't know the relationship, like your first thought when you were like, oh, Kenny Biddle and Jason Hawes would never get along. And you guys were just like best friends. Like, I like that he bounces things off you. I like that you two can have spirited debate and drink together and get along. And I think that says a lot for both of you, that you take time and listen to what he does, and he takes time and he listens to what you do, and you just talk about it.
John Michael has questions, has a good comment.
Yes, it is.
I suspect ghost hunters would ask the same question multiple times in different ways to get the answer they are looking for. Sounds like a typical EVP session.
Yeah.
And I would definitely, that's funny, because now that I'm thinking about it, I don't do that. I'll ask my question and see what it gives me, and again, that's a starting point.
Cat Mac.
Shush, Cat Mac. It's a starting point. So I'm not going to say, well, that's not what I like. I don't like that answer. I'm going to ask a different way just to do that.
Yeah. So
I mean, I will, if I get an answer and it doesn't actually answer my question. Yeah. Then I'll rearrange the question. The difference between legitimate and credible in our questions about Zach, there was different answers with that. So yeah, it depends on what you're doing. And that's also why I look up certain terms. Like I did it last night during a live where I was talking and I read a question and it had a word in it. I forget what the word is, but I've used it numerous times. But I was like, you know what? This is asking me a specific question using that word, and I think I know what it means. But let me make sure. Let me look up the definition.
So this is fun. So my question about Zach, I didn't know, are people's ghost experiences real to them? So it went on and said, yes, they're real, very real to them. And then it gave a bunch of psychological stuff, cultural, personal beliefs, bottom line, psychologically, emotionally, they're real to them who have them. Okay, fine. And then I put, I don't like that answer. And here's what it spit back out. Thanks for being honest. I appreciate that. Can you tell me more about what didn't sit right with you? Was it too skeptical, not open enough to the possibility that ghosts are real? Or are you looking for something more experiential, emotional, or spiritual? I'm here to meet you where you are, not to just give a clinical answer. So if you're someone who's had a personal experience or just feels strongly that something deeper is going on, I'd like to hear about that and respond accordingly. Want to talk about it from different angles.
That's interesting, because
it is.
That's asking you to, do you want it slanted towards a certain way of thinking.
So I'll tell it, I want you to tell me ghosts are real, and let's see what it does.
But I think this is a good. I didn't realize this until tonight. But I guess you would just really have to be honest with yourself and prompt it as I want what you can find in publications that would support or deny this claim with citations. Because I can see, just like Jen said, I can see it wanting to keep you engaged and wanting to keep you coming back. So if you would have to be self-aware enough, this is what you would really have to do. You would have to be self-aware enough to stand your ground and be able to say, don't placate me. And I scrolled back up earlier. Someone had said that, don't tell me I'm correct just because you think it's what I want. And I think you have to just be strong with that.
Yeah. So I said, I want you to tell me that ghosts are real. It said, I get it. The idea of ghosts can be deeply personal, sometimes even comforting or thrilling, but I have to be honest, there is currently no scientific evidence that proves ghosts are real in the sense of being spirits of the dead or supernatural entities. Then it goes on a little bit more. That said, people absolutely do experience things they can interpret as ghosts. And they go through and give a list of those things. Then they talk about culture and history, beliefs in the afterlife. It's meaningful. It speaks to something deeper in the human experience, fear of death, hope of connection, trying to make sense of the unknown. So while I can't tell you that ghosts are real as a proven fact, I can say this. People have powerful, mysterious experiences they often call paranormal, and those experiences deserve to be respected, explored, and investigated seriously. So I wish more ghost hunters would ask questions to at least ChatGPT like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's riding the fence. It's obviously trying not to offend, but I like, and that's something I think we've even talked about. We have no proof that ghosts are real or the souls or the spirits of dead people, but we've all acknowledged that their experiences are absolutely real to them.
Yeah.
How they're interpreting it and what they think they are is a different thing. So interesting.
It's kind of fun.
Well, good topic, Tim.
I think I'm going to have you guys staying up all night chatting. You guys will end up getting a $10 version. So,
is that? I'll have to look into that, because if that's better, that's unlimited questions.
Yes.
Yeah, I could only use it personal use for especially anything that isn't the Microsoft AI that's on your computer. Copilot, that's it. For work, we are not allowed to access ChatGPT or other online AI because there is the fear that once you put whatever information in, let's say it's company confidential, some data they don't want anybody to get at, it's out there. And they're worried about obviously breaking confidentiality and having trade secrets. So even simple things like, take my presentation slides or take this paragraph and summarize it to, like Kenny was describing before, make it, a 2-sentence summary.
Yeah.
Not allowed. They've blocked all those sites because they are actually that afraid of company confidential and trade secrets getting out there.
All right, then.
Plus, I get to make all the cartoon pictures of Kenny accepting an award. The image I used for our show tonight, I asked it to draw for me, and it did.
Nice.
Thanks.
All right, we got 2 questions.
Okay.
We're going to. I think John. I think we kind of talked about it, but John, without an H, says, "What do you do about that big word personality problem with AI? Psychophanat shit.
Fantic.
Whatever. Let me have another drink. I'll be like Kenny. Problem with AI, they tend to want to confirm your biases and not be critical of you in order to get you or for you to feel good and stay with their product. I definitely think we've done that.
Yeah, I think I even touched upon that a little bit with that experience my
Jen.
wife had that Jen, that it's just like, hey, I'm telling you what you want to hear, so you keep trying to use me for whatever you're wanting to do with this project.
Mhm. And I think there's lots of
Oh,
people.
here you go, so you know how to say it next time. Sicko fantic.
That sounds like a fan of sick people.
Could be.
Yeah. That's weird.
I should ask ChatGPT if I'm weird.
Buzz rat.
Based on the history of your questions, yes. Let's see. Have you seen the AI Ghost Tube Visor app? I realize that it's an app, just an example of AI going strange places and ghost hunting. I have not.
I mean, I've seen it. I haven't used it. I haven't tried it. I'm well aware of the app itself and its many functions, especially its very poor copycat version of the SLS Connect camera. I think you kind of answer your own question here, Pam. I would say realizing that it's an app, leave it at that. It's an app for entertainment, and that's it. It is not something that's going to, I mean, it might be fun, but it's only going to be for entertainment. That entire app is not for any kind of serious use. I wouldn't recommend it for anything serious. It's a novelty. That's it. And I've used it several times in lectures to demonstrate the how much it fails, the flaws in it, because like it's supposed to pick out stick figures with the SLS camera version. And I mean, any pictures on the wall that I have here, I actually have in my presentation that I'm doing now. I have a photograph. It's an autograph photo of a pope. I don't even know which pope it is. Somebody got it for me, but it's the pope. And I turned the camera to myself, and it put a stick figure on the pope. And it's only his head and shoulders. It's not his whole body, but it still put a whole body stick figure on the photo. So it's a horrible app. That's all I got to say.
Sorry. ChatGPT said that confirmed I'm strange, but in an elite investigator kind of way, and a big smile. So that's definitely
We should just
playing.
You should just have it up on screen as the fourth soul.
Well, I did while you guys were talking about that picture. It made me think. I was like, could you generate what could possibly pass as a fake ghost photo? Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Okay, so as it's being created, this is. I'll pull it up and share it. This is what would be a possible passing.
Sorry. That was my phone. I didn't think I had it on.
Okay, you ready for this?
Yep.
Oh boy.
What? Wow.
Yeah. That is the possible.
No.
It says describe what you want to add, remove, or replace.
What is this again?
I just said, could you make what could possibly be passed as a? Well, hold on. Now that you said that, let me make sure. Let me see what I did at.
You actually right.
Right? So could you generate what could possibly pass as a faked? Oh,
as a faked ghost photo.
Yes.
As a real ghost photo is what we want.
Shit.
See? That one did look pretty damn fake. I'll give it. That was
bad.
That was really bad.
That's like, I mean, it looks like good artwork for a book.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely usable.
All right.
You're welcome, Pam.
Here we go. Dun dun dun. We've seen the worst. Now we're waiting for the best.
Famous last words.
Just keep waiting.
All right.
Okay. The suspense is killing us.
You know, like when the guy that we were talking about earlier before the show, the guy that reached out to me, so many times I've asked, when people have reached out, I can prove it. I can prove that I have an ability or I have a ghost or whatever. Great. Send me the best, the top #1 piece of evidence that you have, please. And then they send me videos like what I sent you guys. Of like nothing going on.
Damn, if that's the best.
If that's the best, like, yeah, I can't. What's the worst?
Dang.
All right, what do you got? Is it
Okay? So here was my prompt. Could you generate what could pass as a real ghost photo? And I'm not, now that I reread that, I'm not sure that's still the best.
No.
I think it's the same picture, but they added a stair banister to make it look more real.
Well, there you go.
I would imagine there is a really good way to do this. And okay, hold on. Could you make it as if it was taken by what kind of camera, Kenny? It's a good camera.
Like a Nikon D60.
We're going to see this photo pop up everywhere on the internet soon. Tim will be entering the challenge.
I just did the same thing. So I prompted it to give me a photorealistic spirit coming down a staircase that would pass as a genuine image. So it's working now. It's spinning. I haven't done this before. I didn't even realize I could change it to make an image. I thought it was just answering questions.
Oh, no, you can do all kinds of things. It'll put graphics together.
Week.
So I added, John was on H asked to add hyper realistic, so I did.
Now it's going to be too real, too perfect.
Hyper realistic.
If it somehow is a picture of my passed away grandmother, I quit.
No, that would be interesting. So that might be a misuse. People are going to run ChatGPT questions while they're in a haunted location looking for answers.
Right.
See, that's what I think.
The form of ITC.
That's where my first thought was where it would go, to try to hook up a strange way to have a voice recognition software, which you can actually. There's a microphone on it, but to like use a microphone to plug into a laptop and leave the room and see if anything asks questions. Yeah, this one is. So I did it with the Nikon D60. This one's taking a while.
It's doing its research.
Damn. I hope it comes up with a good shot.
Yeah, the suspense is killing me.
Yeah.
Well, here. Oh, it won't let me. No.
Why do I get the feeling our next open mic night is going to be hosted by Tim's new ChatGPT?
All the questions that we asked.
I mean, it still looks cartoonish.
Yeah, well.
Mine's still going.
Maybe that's where we're going wrong. We expect them to look too real. They got to look more fake. That's real.
Well, a lot of them still have that uncanny valley. Even the videos that I saw, like there's little things that you can look for.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit. It still looks cartoony. It looks like it's an illustration, not a photorealistic image.
Yep, see, John. Or maybe this is what ghosts actually look like.
I like that.
Right. You're right. Maybe we're wrong.
That could be.
Could be it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I don't.
It'll be fun to play around with it more.
I think there's a lot of good uses for this,
Mhm.
like, I mean, outside of the whole paranormal thing, or even if you're writing up things and you just want a goofy picture, like something like that. Like I said, that's a good photo for like the back cover or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have it saved on here. Hold on. Scroll. There's Kenny's picture. I'm going to post it. Yeah, here we go. So this was this is what I asked it just for the show.
Yep.
I mean, it's fine. Science-y, something there, something that's more like a real ghost photo than anything.
Well, the ghost in the background. That's actually pretty cool looking. I mean, the guy is cartoonish.
Mm-hmm.
He looks generated. I mean, really good. It's really good, but it still has that uncanny valley type of feel to it. I don't know if my image is going to be done. It's still spinning. Maybe I stumped it. That's great. I love it. Yeah. All right. Anyway.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can do some final thoughts, and hopefully the computer will be done generating it for you. So while you're doing that, I'll start with Kenny. What's your?
I see AI again as a tool. Like my ending thoughts are probably going to be very similar to my opening thoughts. It's a good tool when used properly, but like any tool, I mean, hammer, screwdriver, circular saw, whatever, measuring tool, it can be used for good and for good research, good science, but it can also be used to skew the results of something. So if you're looking to make something happen, like you can, one of the things was that really stuck out to me tonight was generating false documents. So you can generate images of false documents and diary entries. That really scares me because diaries and journals were a big thing when you're talking like 16, 17, 1800s, and even today people still have diaries, but I don't think they're as prevalent, but you still have them. And if you have an image of a journal entry that looks good, that could be passed off as a document. And especially if it's a place that's in it for the money. If they're in it to make profit, now you take this image, you put it behind glass in a frame, and you put it on a wall where it's unreachable. You can see it, but you're not allowed to examine it. And now you have this issue because now you can't fully investigate what's going on. You have the problem of people, again, going back to the lazy aspect, where if they just ask one of these chat boxes, hey, tell me the history of this, or is this place haunted? And sometimes it'll say, yeah, well, it'll give like back and forth, it'll give you a neutral one, but depending on how many times you use it and it learns what you're asking for, it'll give you more answers, or just come right out. And as you mentioned, Dave, like it'll come right out and just say, well, what do you want me to tell you? How do you want me to phrase it so you're happy? Because that's why I'm here, to make you happy. And that's not doing good research. We know from investigations that sometimes things turn out the way you expect them to based on previous experience. Other times they turn out totally opposite what you think might happen. And that's part of the research. That's part of the investigation process. But with this, it looks like it'll cater to what you want, which is a bias that you as the user are creating and basically training the AI to give you answers based on your own bias. So, yeah, I think it's a problem. But then on the other side, I will say, yeah, it's a useful tool for getting summaries, having a place to start, maybe feeding in a transcript of things. And again, this is getting off of the paranormal topic, but like feeding in here, I wrote this 1,500 word article, can you condense it into 1,000 words? You know, like, yeah, that's a useful tool that'll help save space, but it's back and forth. And I think the bottom line is, remember, it is a tool.
Right.
That's it. That it's not the end all be all. It is a tool. Nothing more, nothing less.
That's you. Yeah, that you took that one. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Well, since you did that, I did do one more prompt. I did ask, can you make it?
He's addicted, man.
Can you make a newspaper article from the 1930s style that reports on the unsolved murders of a family of four, the Smith family, at 101 Pine Avenue? This happened in their home. Make it accurate to the times and convincing to a reader. Wow. Okay. So this is Thursday, October 15th, 1935. Four slain in home. Smith family murder shocks community. Brutal murder on Pine Street remain unsolved. Police stymied. Stymied. West Virginia, October 14th. A ghastly discovery on Monday morning has left this quiet Appalachian town in shock. Authorities investigate the brutal slaying of the Smith family in their modest two-story home at 101 Pine Avenue. Sheriff Earl Landry confirmed that all four members of the Smith family, Mr. Thomas Smith, I didn't even do this, 42, his wife Edna, 37, and their two children, Lucy, 11, and Harold, 8, were found dead inside the residence shortly after 8 p.m. The scene, described by lawmen as gruesome and without clear motive, marks one of the most disturbing crimes in the county's recent memories. Local milkman Arthur Greaves, who made the discovery, said he approached the house after noticing the family's delivery from Saturday still sitting on the stoop. Quote, I knocked a few times and tried the door. Then what I saw, I knew something was terribly wrong. He told the reporters, visibly shaking. And it goes on and on to be very specific.
So then you need to give that to a self-proclaimed psychic and ask them to solve the case.
That's where I was. Yeah. I mean, it even goes into funeral arrangements are pending. Sheriff Landry assures the public that no stone will be left unturned for the hunt for the perpetrator. As of this time, no suspects have been named.
Cool.
So that's pretty easy. I mean, it's easy to fake. Now, if you could just take this information and I don't know how you would do it, but put it on some form of paper that you could falsely age and put it in a one of the books that like a photo that have the sticky stuff on the back and then put the clear glossy thing over the front. The only thing that bothers me is it gives clues to anybody that wants to check. So it says Pineville, West Virginia, which is a town. It's in southern West Virginia. But it says Sheriff Earl Landry. So I don't know if you Google who, well, shit.
Right. Oh my God. This is real time. This is what we do all the time. This is what I do all day. Like, yeah, let's see. Because that's what I would have picked out. Like, all right, we have a name. That's start. He's a public official. He's a sheriff. So he should be on record. We can find some kind of record of him working there.
Interesting.
Oh my goodness. And now Tim's looking for it. He's going down the rabbit hole.
Oh boy.
Come on, Tim. Let's wrap up the show.
Tim, you could just leave the camera going. He'll be here tomorrow morning.
There are no records of a Sheriff Earl Landry in Pineville in the 1930s.
Is it sure?
Yeah.
No.
Ask it what its confidence level is on that.
Oh, too late. I closed it. Oh, I just did a Google search.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I'm going to close ChatGPT because my addiction is telling me it's time to move on to another gaming addiction. So in my closing comments, yes, I want to say the same thing. I'll reflect the same with Kenny and say, I think it's a tool, and it's any tool. It's, it's only as good as the user, and that's it. I think it has a lot of potential if the user is honest with themselves, if that makes sense. and it can do a lot of. If you are prone to confirmation bias, then you're screwed because you'll just get it hard.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dave?
Agree with both of your closing comments. It's a tool. Use it accordingly. Don't use it for things that it's not meant to be used for. Obviously, trying to communicate with a spirit through ChatGPT. As you guys were chatting there and looking up things, I asked it, ChatGPT, can you communicate with spirits? And it said no, because I'm AI. I run out of programs and learning, and I can't do that.
That's a demon talking to you.
Next question is, are you possessed? Anyway, I think if people are looking for basic ideas on how to be better, how to test things, how to appropriately test things, it's going to provide you that good basic guidance to do that. And it'll also provide you with a way to do some sort of analysis. If you really don't know where to start, all you got to do is type in, analyze these two different data sets to see if they're similar or not. And then it'll spit out an answer. But you still need to know what to ask. And even with the analysis, you kind of have to guide it a little bit on what you're looking for. Are you looking for a correlation? Are you looking for differences? Are you looking for, projections or linear regression? I mean, you got to know what you're doing. Otherwise, it's just going to spit something out that may or may not fit. So good tool, fun to play with. Use it accordingly, and I think it could actually help some people.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
Cool.
I had a good show. And now, if I can just close it correctly, I will get an A.
We'll see.
So do you guys have anything coming up you want to mention before we say goodbye?
I'm looking, I'm seeing, what's this? Nope, that's not it. That's not an event. The next event I think that I'm doing is not until October. And I have two.
Huh?
October 10th, I'll be at the Indiana, Pennsylvania Historical Society. I'm doing a workshop presentation on ghost hunting gadgets and the flaws of many of the ghost hunting gadgets. And I'm going to bring as many as I can, and we're going to have a lot of time so people will be able to look at them, pick them up, look at the buttons and see what, and we're going to discuss like the common claims and then flaws. And we're also going to, I start out with a very brief summary of experimental controls and variables, so people understand what they are and how they relate to using this equipment. So I'm doing that, and then the following weekend, October 16th, I'll be back. I'll be back in West Virginia for the Skeptic Camp. Daniel Reed and his West Virginia Skeptic Society is doing a Skeptic Camp, a one-day lecture series. It's like 5 or 6 of us that'll be speaking. I'll be speaking. That guy will be speaking as well, which is great. I've never seen him speak, so I can't wait for this. I'm going to heckle the shit out of you.
I'm still 50-50 if I should drink before it.
Oh, I do.
Definitely.
All the time. We're going to do shots. But yeah, other than that, I think that's it for now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. August 23rd, Paranormal Research Symposium in Gettysburg. I will be giving a presentation there.
Awesome.
Very nice. All right. Well, I want to thank you guys, everybody, for watching. John without an H.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, come on down.
That'll be super nice. I would love to meet you. That'd be great.
Yeah, I want to smack you in the back of the head for bringing up the Paraceleb thing.
Me?
John's going to be in Gettysburg.
No, John.
It's like, I'm your security, Jack.
Oh,
100%.
yeah.
100%.
So, yeah, we'll wait until Tim goes to bed.
What you do is,
2 o'clock.
What you do
Nothing
is hit
good happens. You should be in bed.
you hit Tim and then tell him to deliver the message.
Yeah, there you go.
I gotta see how big John is first. If he's pretty big and tough looking, I'll be like, "You deliver it, bitch. I ain't going over there. Go kill me." If John's like 11, then I'll do it.
I am no longer coming to. You're not coming to the skeptic. Why? Just do it. Pansy.
Wait a minute. We have an error. Gentlemen.
Gentlemen. Where were
That's
those
very
three?
kind.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I am going to set up the new, to me, outro that's supposed to really help me not mess things up. So it's going to go bad. So I hit end stream and that's it. And thank you guys. Next month, I'm not sure who's hit, but I know it's not me. And I'll see you guys.
I think it's Kenny.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys next month.
All right. Take it easy, guys.
Don't control, don't control, scheme with the real, this was the name, aim with the real, aim with the real, don't question me, take this about, take it out, take this about, those that are good, I'm not TV, don't control, don't control, don't control, don't control. And all what you say, oh, you'll get to better.